this question about the German unification. So the German government accepted a massive liability in reunifying Germany. The former East needed considerable investment in infrastructure, and former Eastern Germans needed substantial outlays for social benefit. So for Germany, we used to have the Western Germany and the Eastern Germany. The Western Germany was mainly a capitalist, while the Eastern Germany was mainly a communist. Consequently, the Western Germany were more developed compared to the Eastern Germany. In the Western Germany, they had well-developed infrastructure, while the Eastern Germany, they had the main problem with infrastructure because it wasn't developed enough. In the West, they had controlled inflation, while in the East, they have a very high inflation rate. Consequently, in order to unify Germany, we had massive discrepancies between the West and the East. Therefore, we said, okay, what we need to do now is we need to rebuild the East. Since we will be unified, we'll have the same currency. So they said, okay, what we'll do is, the first option is, the West will start to reconstruct the East. And this will be done mainly by the money from the taxpayers from the West. This looks unfair. Why? Because this means that the West needs to pay for the East for nothing in return. Consequently, it will be politically difficult to justify the unification, and the West would reject the unification. Therefore, what will be our second option? Our second option will be using debt, which means the West will give debt to the East, and then they will reconstruct the infrastructure, they will make more investments, more projects. So this means that later on the unemployment rate will drop, and at the same time the Eastern Germans will get a high quality of education, which would result in they will get in the future highly paid jobs, and consequently they will pay future taxes. So this is related to the intergenerational distribution of the tax burden. You could stay now with low resources, with less opportunities, and you don't pay taxes, or I will give you a chance to generate higher income, and then you need to pay higher taxes based on this income. Therefore, it was a good deal for them, a win-win situation. Therefore, the lenders will be the West, and who will pay the money in the future? It will be the future taxpayers of Eastern Germans, the one who will generate and will benefit from all this infrastructure and all this development and high growth rate. Consequently, what happened is they started, for Eastern Germany, they started to have higher debt. This higher debt resulted in a scarcity of liquidity, consequently higher interest rate. Higher interest rate resulted in valuation of the currency, so the currency started to appreciate, and consequently the output of Germany started to slow down, started to deteriorate. Then, inflation. Germany doesn't like higher inflation. Therefore, what they said is, okay, the Eastern German, they will buy the Eastern German mark, which is the currency of Germany at that time, at face value, which means for the West, the value of the mark was very high, while the East, the value of the mark was very low. But they accepted that they will change it at face value, 1 for 1. So this means that the East German marks was purchased at an inflated price. And by this, it means that the West started to inject money into the East with an inflation tax. So this means that, okay, they started to give the money from the West by the East because they purchased the Eastern mark at a low. The Eastern mark that has, okay, the West started to buy the Eastern mark, which has a lower value, at the same value of the Western mark. Consequently, they started to inject a lot of money in the East. And at the same time, to control inflation rate, the central bank didn't inject money a lot. It was very, very, very slowly.